Yo, peace, love, blessings, soul family. Michelangelo here with a transmission, a message for you today. And I'm going to be talking about a phase of spiritual awakening, and that is the relational evolution. The ways of relating and being of the old self no longer suit the new self. What this looks like, to give you a more concrete example, is that we start to become very aware of our energy, right? And we can no longer give our energy away to everybody, and just because we get drained. So there's a need for boundaries, for stating your needs, and we start to usually, at least in my experience, I started to become aware that, okay, wait, a lot of the ways that, for example, my family treats me, or the roles I played, or the way I relate to my friends, they're really unhealthy, they don't make me feel good, and they're dysfunctional. And I started to see that my family emotionally abused me. My friends are on the spectrum of being alcoholics and drug addicts, and there's a lot of pain there, right? That was some of the awakening that I had. And this is the part many people don't talk about, and it is the most painful part in my experience, because we begin to feel alienated. We begin to lose our sense of identity. It feels like there's no one to talk to, right? Because no one fucking understands. Because what is happening is you're literally entering a new paradigm, a new reality tunnel, a completely new wavelength. So just as an analogy, you're seeing in color, and the people in your old life are seeing in black and white. So when you try to speak to them about red, blue, and yellow, they literally do not understand what you're talking about. They don't have the consciousness or awareness or reference point to literally understand what you're talking about. So it becomes very, there's a sense of alienation that usually accompanies this separation phase. It's separating from the old way of relating with people. And I would like to share a story from my own experience. My twin sister was on this journey a few years ahead of me. And this was way back, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And she started to change how she acted in my family. She was no longer people pleasing, which means giving, and just attending to other people's needs at the expense of your own well-being. So she was no longer people pleasing. She was no longer, spending time in the same way with us. She was stating her boundaries. She had a lock on her door. She wouldn't do certain things. And she was saying no and speaking out and saying that, for example, this is not okay. When you do this, it makes me feel this way. And that's not acceptable. And in my mind, because I was on the spiritual path, but this is a part of spiritual awakening too, guys, because we are embodied fucking 3D human beings who relate to other people. So it would make sense that we have to have an evolution in our relationships as well. So I did not have that insight yet. I literally would write letters to her. I never gave them to her, but I was like, why do you do this? Are you just being spiteful? Are you just being resentful? Our family did this. I had everything I could want materially, but nothing emotionally. But I didn't see that at the time. And I would literally be mad at her. It's like, you're wrong. I would literally, that's how I would feel. I would look at her and be like, you're wrong. Why are you doing this? You're causing all the problems in the family, right? And man, it was such a fucking wake-up call when I had my own experience of coming to the light and waking up to the fact that, holy shit, the way my family and friends and just in general people in my life conduct their interactions and engagements with each other is extremely fucking unhealthy. When I had that realization, that's when I shifted. And this was a process. I literally went through programs and courses to learn this stuff, and therapies and different things like that. And this is what I'm offering people now in my coaching programs, giving them back, giving these tools and these insights that I learned, because it's fucking life-changing. And that's when I realized, oh my God, and it completely switched. Then she was the only one I could talk to. She was the only one I could lean on, because I entered the color world from black and white. Now I could see what she was seeing. I could see the color blue, the color red, the color yellow, because I was no longer living in black and white. I was no longer mired in family dysfunction. I was no longer playing the role of the lost child. I was no longer playing the role of the fixer. And when you break free from these roles, you will be met with resistance. So the question is not how do we avoid the resistance, How do we avoid the upheaval? But how do we dance with it? How do we move with it? And how this manifests is people might start to make you feel guilty. That's a big one. They might not approve of what you're doing. They might say, what happened to you? You changed. And I'll mention it again, guilt is a big one. Guilt is a big one. You're not being there for me, you're not showing up. What they're essentially saying is, you're not the way I want you to be. You're not doing things in the way that I want you to do them. You're not acting in the way that I want you to act. It can be confusing. It can feel like, am I going crazy? Am I making a big deal out of things? Am I taking this too far? And I'm here to tell you that you are not. You are healing ancestral and generational trauma. I would say 99.9% of families in this modern day world, because we live in a sick culture. It's just the way it is. That's the objective reality. Most families are dysfunctional, and that trauma is a result of that. Subtle manipulations, not being empathically attuned to one's feelings, not feeling seen or validated or heard. When you express emotions, you're attacked. All of these things are unhealthy, and they are normalized. They're normalized and minimized and said, but we're your family. We're your friends. I care about you. I love you. And that, ooh, that's the manipulation right there. And it's not about blaming someone or being, holding things against someone. It's like people do this without realizing it. They have never learned the emotional tools to really be a healthy, in the terms of emotional intelligence, healthy human being. It's not their fault, to a certain extent. For those of you going through this, I just want to let you know that my fucking heart is with you, yo. For real, my heart is with you. I have been there. I have made it through to the other side. I have shown the light to my family, my friends, and I'm not here to fix or save anyone. I'm here to model a new way of being, and I will hold in this new frequency. I will hold the boundaries that serve me. And I will not play roles that add to passing down shame, abandonment, neglect, abuse. We are stopping the passing on of generational fucking trauma. It stops here. This is the new earth. You are a part of it. You are anchoring in the new frequency of a new humanity that is self-aware, emotionally intelligent, self-sustaining, interdependent, mutual aid, cooperation, being empathically attuned to each other in a healthy way, moving beyond codependence to interdependence. You are the light. You are the love of God coming down into this earth and creating a new world. Love dissolves situations and creates new circumstances. It does not solve problems. It creates an entirely new circumstance. And as that circumstance is being created, there's going to be resistance. There's going to be upheaval. That's all you're experiencing. It's normal. It's part of the journey. You are doing the best thing you can do for yourself. Stay in your power. Stay in your heart. Stay connected. And if you need help, reach out to me. I got you. Peace.